Now,
hey up everyone, this is LBF Spot On number 2, and I am Andy, and with me today I have Cam,
hey up,
Hook,
Heyo.
and Anne.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking all about books, and
books.
people who write.
or books if you consider that.
All the
Well, we all know I can't say it properly, so it's fine. I'm going to talk about books and authors and all booky book things.
Booky book.
Yeah, I'm just getting it out of the way. I'm getting the laughs that I can't say the word out of the way right now.
They're not going
It doesn't get less funny.
It's still going to be funny every time you say book.
There's always going to be a very slight giggle whenever I say the word. Book. There it is. There it is.
Book.
Still not getting old.
So I thought we'd start things off by talking about a particular favourite author or book series that we all have. So I guess I'll kick things off with Terry Pratchett. Does everyone know who Terry Pratchett is?
Yes.
No.
Doesn't he do
Please.
Discworld?
He does do Discworld, thank you,
Oh,
Cam.
yeah, okay. I've
Well,
read
thank God.
4 of Discworld, I should know.
You have
this.
restored my faith in humanity,
5
and
points for Cam.
Cam was leading on bonus points.
Yes.
I'm just bad at remembering names.
Yeah, he's...
So is he.
Oh,
might not
wow.
get.
Wow.
I don't get
That
this.
was... He now has... Is it Parkinson's? Alzheimer's?
Oh dear.
So, thanks for throwing that in
Start
there.
things off right here.
Getting dark real quick.
First podcast Hook's in throws out an Alzheimer's joke. Good stuff.
I couldn't miss the opportunity.
It's alright, people
Yeah.
will forget about it.
But also, that is actually quite a good point. Even though he does have Alzheimer's, he still writes the books, and he's still bringing up books to this day. I think this last one came out like a few months ago, which I have, and it's still just as good as all of the other ones.
That's
It's
impressive.
just, yeah. But yeah, you said about the Discworld, that's like the whole world he's built the whole books around, and then there's like all sorts of overarching stories. So there's a story about a particular city and all of the ongoings in it is called Ankh-Morpork, which is yeah, that's what the city's called. It's called
Ankh-Morpork.
Yeah. May get slated because I said it wrong, but yeah, it's
accepted.
all about that. Then there's like one of the big storylines is about the City Watch there, and that is one of the best storylines. It's all about the commander of the City Watch, and he's one of the best characters in the entire series. It's like even when they have different series, so there's stuff about that don't revolve around those things. Some of the characters from other storylines do pop up in the story as well. So it's like everything sort of like meshes together, and I just think it's so good that I think it's so good that they managed to do that.
I love when people do that in their series. It's really good.
But yeah, it's just I think he's got maybe like 60 odd books going, and all of the characters sort of like mesh together, and for some reason Cam is losing his mind over there. Don't know why, but I'm gonna continue.
I can't even with a stupid hat.
If I had to.
Are you laughing about your fucking hat?
Since no one could tell, Cam is wearing a hat, an elf hat, complete with elf ears, and for some reason I guess he looked at his own picture and he's just lost it.
I just saw it wobbling around on my head.
Get over yourself, would you?
Yeah. And then, if I had to pick a particular book out of that series, out from that author, I would pick this one, which is called Going Postal, which is about... It's about a man... First of all, the best part about it, it's about a man called Moist.
Moist?
His name is Moist.
Great.
Let's have a little giggle about that for a minute.
Yeah, let's take a moment to appreciate that his name is Moist von Lipwig.
Moist what?
Moist von Lipwig.
Oh well.
So our pal Moist, he's a con artist.
Is it spelled like moist?
It's just the word moist. Let's not beat around the bush. He is moist in name.
We need a moist count on this podcast.
So I think we're on quadruple moist right now. But yeah, our pal Moist, he is a con artist, and he gets caught and he gets sentenced to death but instead of being sentenced to death, they like fake his death, and the patrician of the city sets him up as running the post office, which is like all broken down and stuff. And then like many shenanigans ensue because like there's ghosts, there's like banshees, there's fires and golems and stuff. And in the end, he like sort of becomes a model citizen, and it's all like okay, but also Moist. That's number 6 there, I believe. He is the most sarcastic, sassy bastard in the entire world. That is exactly what I like. Because he is just he's just me, basically. If I was dropped in a book, I'm gonna say it, if I was dropped in a book, I would be Moist.
You just had to say that, didn't you?
I just had to say that. That is just getting that out there.
I want that on a t-shirt.
But yeah, I believe Terry Pratchett is even still writing books now, and there's another one coming out in a few... Well, I believe it's called something to do with dust, I think. I'm sure the title has something to do with that, and I will definitely be picking that up as soon as it comes out.
Oh,
but onwards to another person. Anyone want to jump in? Please, for the love of God, someone jump in.
I want to get that silence going as long as possible.
I guess I'll go. I picked an author, Stephen King, because I don't know, it's the author I've read most books of, and I absolutely love his books, especially his horror books, because he's been experimenting with a lot of different genres. I still haven't read any fantasy by him, but he's also done sci-fi and a few other genres, so it's quite interesting. But no matter what genre he writes, I can still like he still has a very unique way of writing.
A distinct writing style sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. He also has a habit of leaving hints in his book to other of his books, like for example, a character that wasn't really important in another book will also pop up in other of his books. Like, so it's something it doesn't affect the story in any way, but if you pay attention, you still notice it. And I really like that. And if I should pick a favorite book by Stephen King, it would probably be It, because I am mostly a fan of his horror books. And It was the first book that really like made it hard for me to sleep at night, because it absolutely terrified me. But
always a sign of a good horror book.
Yeah. And I now have a fear of clowns, which I didn't before. Before I was like, fear of clowns.
To be fair, clowns are just horrible in general.
Are they though?
See, I didn't used to think that, but then I read It, and now I really find clowns.
It should take that away, really, because Tim Curry, you can't take him seriously.
Yeah, yeah. It just, yeah.
I don't know.
So now, thanks to Stephen King and Can't Even Clowns. So.
Like, clowns used to be like, yeah, okay.
Clowns will sleep.
But now all I see is Pennywise with big scary sharp teeth, and no. I don't like it.
No. and no. Okay, well.
Nope. But it's a weird mix of don't like it and do like it, because I don't know.
So I do like it because it's so horrifying.
Exactly, I like horror because
that's what you want from a horror book. You want to read it and then just be like, no, why?
No,
And Cam immediately finds a scary clown face. I knew as soon as your camera went up, I knew you were planning something.
You know me too well.
Why do you hate me? Why do you hate me?
I don't. The clown does. It's fine. Nobody else is going to know what we're doing. Like.
Yeah, well, that's why I thought I'd add it in, just auditory description of what's happening right now. It's just okay.
You're.
I know. I'm proud of
it. Okay, I think I'm done.
You're scared now.
I'm just scared you in silence.
And can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
I need to know.
She's too scared.
I need to
She's too scared of clowns.
I need to use that clown more now.
No.
Yes.
So, any book that you want to talk about for us?
Any book.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
I chose my favourite book, which is The Secret History by Donna Tartt.
Is she a tart?
I'm just gonna laugh at Tartt for a minute. Let me get that on.
We've picked all the best names right now.
Mine's
It's
really
not as good as
boring.
Moist, but it's close. And The Secret History is essentially, it's about a guy from suburban California who moves to Vermont, I think it is, somewhere on the East Coast, to go to this prestigious college, and then basically ends up with him murdering one of his friends. And that's not a spoiler, because the actual murder happens at the beginning. And then it goes back.
First word, he murdered his friend. Done. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Continue.
It's pretty much is that. The first chapter is him saying how he killed this guy, and then it goes back to how he got to the place. And then the second half is about how they deal, like it's him and his group of friends, and the second half is about how they deal with murdering a man. And it's really interesting. And it's like, they all kind of fall apart as a result. But it's some of the best character development I've ever seen in a book. Like, you genuinely feel for these people, even though they're not very nice at all.
Yeah,
Well,
that special
people
kind
love-
of not very nice.
People really like rooting for the real idiots.
I do.
That's the thing, though, they're not idiots, though. They're,
Yeah, of
they're
course
really
you do.
smart.
You can relate to them, Cam. That's why.
Wow.
Cam gives the middle finger.
No, shush! People aren't supposed to know that.
Yes, people are supposed to know you're just as mean to me as I am
I've
to
got
you.
to keep up the nice
Because
guy
otherwise people are
persona.
going to call me a bully again. People always call me a bully, and it's not true, because everyone gives us
You hit me 300 times when I visited you.
They were not hard. Like, I can't punch for shit, and
I was
you know
talking
it.
emotionally hit me, but okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. Yeah. When they do they like do any of the whole Heisenberg stuff where like put the body in the bathtub and like burn holes in the floor and stuff?
Thing is, they're not actually idiots. They're really smart. And one of the characters, Henry, is basically a genius, and he organizes this whole scheme to make the perfect murder, and then to cover it up afterwards. And a lot of it is just really tense of them trying to keep these secrets. It's a very interesting book, and I've read it about 10 times, I think, honestly.
It's just
usually
that good.
once every few months.
I just imagine you having like a little time book and it's like, oh, it's been a couple of months out, yep, alright. Time to reread. Yep.
Like an X
I have
on
an
the
alarm on my
calendar.
phone.
Yeah. Do you read any of the stuff that she writes, or is it just that?
I've read another book of hers called, I think it's called The Little Friend, which was also quite good.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah.
Is it
Little
about a
Friend
penis?
by Donna Tartt.
Is her little
It's-
friend also called Moist?
Well, it's not, okay. It's going to sound weird. It's about snakes.
About
It's
what?
about snakes.
Oh no.
Oh, well.
About snakes.
Okay.
Continue.
And it's also kind of a murder mystery. But it's good, but it's not as good as Secret History.
Does she murder people with the snake?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, please tell me more.
Interesting.
Might have seen a video like it once.
What kind of videos are you watching? I don't know where you're going with this.
Oh,
Are we keeping this
Alright, let's turn
PG?
into the innuendo cast.
there'll be a link in the link dump for that video.
Will there? We'll see about that.
It depends what YouTube will let us get away with, I suppose.
It depends what I let you get away with.
Okay, fair enough. Cam is the first filter. Cam is keeping our
well, he
podcast
does
broadcastable.
have
I don't have much of a filter. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Interesting.
But is my go?
Yeah, it is your
Yeah.
go, Cam.
Yes.
Enlighten us.
I will enlighten you with tales of woe and... Oh, that wouldn't enlighten you, would it? Anyway, my series is... Well, the author is Simon Scarrow. Now, he does 3 series, I believe, but the series in particular I like is the Eagle series. Because it's awesome. End of story, that's it. No.
Yeah, that's the end of the podcast.
That was short.
There's like, how many books is there? 12 books in it, I think. It's quite a long series, but it's basically about 2 Roman soldiers that don't really fit into the Roman army or sort of in the specified roles. And there's like a short guy who's really broad-shouldered, basically built like a rugby player. And then a bookworm, which is quite suitable for this podcast. A bookworm gets brought in from Rome he used to be like a servant, and for some reason his father's dying wish was that he serves 25 years in the army.
What a nice fella.
He could have said to him, have all my wealth and you'll be a freedman, or he could have sent him to the army for 25 years, so he chose the latter.
He chose the douche option, okay.
He chose to say, I'm just going to let you waste 25 years of your life, that's great.
That has yet to be, explained why he did that. I'm hoping they go back to it, because the two main characters are Macro and Kato, and Macro is the rugby player dude, and Kato is a bookworm. And they did an origin story for Macro, so I'm hoping they do one for Kato as well. But it's basically, he's like a tall, skinny dude who just doesn't fit in at all. And then, it's like Little and Large, I guess. And
they're the original double act.
They are, yeah. And they like Laurel and Hardy as well, and the Chuckle Brothers, and they're just complete idiots together. But they basically get dumped together. And at first, they hate each other and they don't want to be around each other, and then in typical fashion,
classic rom-com,
they end up getting on and become like brothers in arms. And it's just about their mishaps in the Roman era, I guess. And they sort of become the Emperor's little bitches.
Well, okay, I think you should elaborate on that one.
Well, they just do all the dirty work that the Emperor doesn't want real soldiers to do, even though they're the most decorated soldiers in the army. He doesn't want them to do it. He wants them to do all this dirty work, so they get sent to Britain at one point, and they have to take over, or they have to help lead the charge against the Brits. Which I'm kind of rooting for them, but I'm also, get off my land.
Well, I mean,
get off my land. But
are they kind of they're kind of the Roman A team?
Yeah, sort of. Apart from
if you can contact them,
they're not as cool. I don't think there isn't a guy who's just a crazy. There isn't a crazy pilot or
a black guy.
There isn't a black guy. In fact, the one thing it never mentions is whether they are black or white. It never mentions that. I'm going to assume they're white purely from, Romans. Are Romans mainly white? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if they're both from Rome, they're likely to be white. White to light brown.
Yeah.
White to light brown?
Yeah.
There is one scene, I like the first book. The first book is my favourite out of them all. And there's one part in it that every time, without fail, it makes me laugh. And it's such a simple thing, but something about it makes me laugh. And it's basically Kato throws a spear, and it bounces off the back of Macro's head. And it skims the top of his head, and he looks around to try and find him, and Kato's just on his knees trying to hide because he's so tall. So he has to just fall down and I don't know why, but every time I read that, I have to stop reading for 2 minutes to stop laughing. Just the way it's set up is just hilarious.
It's just wow, this is awkward.
It's a really the series is a really dark and gritty series. There's no beating around the bush. It tells you when someone gets their arm chopped off and all the gruesome details of it.
Yeah.
And they're also lads. Every city they go to, they find the first brothel and the first cheap pub. Although I don't think they call them pubs. What would they call them?
What would they call them?
A tavern,
I guess.
A tavern, I think.
Yeah, they're proper lads. The first thing they do, apart from Kato, he wants to find love and all that nonsense.
Oh, what a
I
letdown.
noticed out of 3 Brits and 1 Danish chick, the Danish girl finds the word for tavern first. Yes. I'm super proud. Yes.
Because we have pubs, we don't have
we
taverns.
have pubs.
No, but I still know the word. Yay.
I mean, we know
It's
the
a
word.
victory for me, okay, Cam?
I'm not
Don't
letting
ruin
you
this
have...
for me.
Nope, I'm not having it.
Don't ruin this for me.
You're
please.
not allowed it. You're not allowed it.
Yeah, okay, there you go. And can't speak English, apparently.
You got to speak your Danish
Then
words.
what the fuck am I doing right now, Andy? Am I not speaking English?
Nah, I don't know.
It's a dream.
You should all check out the Eagle series.
I can go ahead and do the rest of the podcast
Also-
in Danish if you want.
Not related
Oh,
related to the film in
Please.
any way.
No, it's not really. I mean, it is in the sense that it's on it's based on Roman history, but it's not related to I don't think it's based on any books. I can't think of any of them that it would be based on.
Well, I think the main character in the film's called Marcus Aurelius. So.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that does happen in the books, but it's not. I think there may be a book called the Eagle.
Okay.
Whereas these ones are like, the first one is Under the Eagle, and then there's like the Eagle in the Sand.
Do they happen to go to the desert in Eagle in the Sand?
The Eagle's Prayer, they do actually, yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so good at this.
I'm kind of disappointed though, because like, they started off the books having the eagle in the title at every opportunity, and now it's just like, not at all. Like, there's Praetorian and Centurion, and like, there's no eagle mentioned. I want an eagle.
maybe they ran out of ways to stretch it into the title. It was kind of like...
Yeah.
They could have
There's only so many times you can say eagle and still have a different title, you know?
Yeah.
Like the
eagle did
the Centurion's eagle.
Yeah. So book 36, the eagle did a thing. You heard it here first.
Eagle.
The eagle went to Rome.
Yeah. This is the eagle went over here. Eagle did this thing.
The eagle went back to Britain.
Yeah.
The eagle told to get off my land.
The illegal eagle.
Illegal.
Yeah.
Alright.
I think that's where we draw the line. When we get to the point where we're having to say stuff like that.
That's where the time to say, guys, it's time to stop. We can't do
we
this
should
anymore.
just drop the eagle. Yeah, that's my favourite book series ever. And also one that not many people have heard of.
Oh, and speaking
Well, then you just
of
use
that,
both your topics.
we'll go into our next topic.
Did you see that sweet segue?
It was a fantastic
Yeah.
segue by Cam there into our next topic, which is we could talk about an author or a book series that we think that other people may not have heard of, or they think needs more attention. And I'm going to start things off by talking about the Demon Souled series by Jonathan Moella, which is kind of like
Jonathan Moella.
or Moella. It's kind of it's a weird spell.
Show us. Oh, wait, can you not show us?
I can't because I've got them all as ebooks.
Okay.
So,
Oh, fair enough.
because I live in the 21st century now.
Wow, I don't like ebooks.
I do like my paperback books, but I mean I've got no space for books anymore.
I just can't. I don't know. For some reason, it doesn't feel the same.
I just have stacks of books over there, and I've got no space to put any more on my shelf. So I was kind of forced into ebooks by necessity.
I've recently cleared out my bookshelf because I've got a ton of books that I don't like anymore because they're like teen books or just really bad books that I bought once. So, because I've got 300 books on my shelf, and then I've got like 50 in a bag over here in the back of my room.
Impressive. Anyway, the Demon Soul series, it's kind of Game of Thrones-esque. It was written around the same time, but obviously it didn't get a massive HBO series written on it, so it kind of didn't become as well known. But it's kind of about the same sort. The similarities are quite big. It's kind of like there's a whole different world has been invented, almost a whole new world. I'm not going to say that.
A whole new world.
But yeah, there's a whole different like sort of realm and setup is made up, and it's like all these noble houses and stuff, and it's about the rise of one guy who's he's kind of an exile.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like his parents were corrupted by some sort of cult thing. And then he gets called back from exile to stop like a massive war between these two houses, and then in doing that he becomes the head of his parents. He ends up being the head of his house, and then it's just essentially him rising to power. And then there's a whole bunch of demony stuff. There's a whole bunch of war thingies and undead stuff. So it's like if you're into the whole like fantasy stuff, it's a really good read. I think there is.
I'll need to get my hands on that.
I think there are 7 books in the series. 7. There's 7 books in the series, and they're all like various soul related things. So it's like Demon Souled, Soul of Swords, Soul of Skulls, Soul of Dragons, stuff like that. Soul Calibur, yeah.
I'm gonna need to read that. I think.
Yeah,
Sounds like just my kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's. I wouldn't say it's quite as good as The Song of Ice and Fire, but it's still pretty damn awesome. But I have to mention that if I had seen them as like actual paper books, I wouldn't have actually bought them, because I've seen them on my tablet. It shows you the front cover for the book, and the artwork on the front is it's dreadful. It's like, as if you could think of like a really crap 80s like D&D fanfic art, it would be like
my
that.
god.
Wait, what's it called?
It's
Like a fantasy metal band.
Well, the first one's called Demon Souled. All one word, but it's like, I think it's some really bad picture of some like knight and maybe the whole tin bucket helmet, and it's just like some really weird background, and it's just like, I'm sorry, who did you get to use for your cover art? It's just, it's bad, isn't it?
It really is. I'm going to put that in the link dump.
Yeah, I'll put the picture in the link dump, but it's just, but no, don't judge, literally do not judge a book by its cover.
Nice one.
I'm breaking it all a quote, but yeah, it's actually a really good series, and there are some really good characters in there, and there's even a few moments in there where it's like kind of like emotional and it's like quite heartfelt. It's like I very rarely cry at books, but one of them I had a manly tear of pain.
Manly tear.
Have to point out that it was a manly tear of pain at a certain point in the story. But yeah, if you like fantasy and you like the whole knights and noble houses and sort of clashes for power and political sort of intrigue stuff, it's definitely for you.
The first book is also free on the
Amazon the first ebook is free. So
sweet.
If anyone wants to pick that up, just give it a search.
Oh my God.
Are there dragons?
There are dragons.
Yes.
It's got all this. It's got zombies. It's got skeletons. It's got dragons.
But you're
I
hooked
think
on
I'm
it.
in love.
It's got like invaders from other lands. Literally, if you could think
I
of
love invaders from
Yeah,
other lands.
I'm gonna say I'm
if you
in love.
could think of any popular thing from a fantasy sort of saga, it's in there basically.
Yes.
It's like it's got intrigue. It's got wizards and mages. It's got like curses. It's got demonic cults. It's got demon summoning things. It's pretty much, it's got everything. It's like, yeah.
My book sounds really boring now compared to yours.
So
does mine.
So now I've ruined everyone else's book that other people need to read.
I'm confident in my book's ability.
Alright. Let's go with Hook since he is confident.
He wasn't ready for that.
I called him out, but he's got to talk about it now.
I picked a series called The Enemy, which is by Charlie Higson, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. And the basic premise is a virus hits the Earth that wipes out everyone over the age of 14.
Is it Ebola?
No.
Oh my word.
It's not that topical, don't worry. And then they all come back as zombies.
Dark jokes.
Wait, over the age of 14?
Yes, and then they
That's
all
a
come
lot
back
of
as zombies.
That's a lot of people.
There's a lot of zombies.
Yeah.
It's set in London. Basically, each book is a different group, or kind of ropes back into other groups later, and it's all about them trying to survive against the adults, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And
Cool.
it's a young adult series, so teenager, but it is dark as hell, and it gets darker as it goes on. Like I was reading one of the most recent books the other day, and it is really just like, I don't want to get too dark, but it's essentially one kid kills another and then eats her. He's not a zombie, he just does it.
Oh, well.
It's really fucking messed up.
Was he really hungry at the time?
Yes.
Well then,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, understandable. Totally.
That was a compulsion to kill, you know.
Why are you guys okay with this?
I mean, if you ever,
Extreme situations, Cam.
really-
I mean, I'm
If
sure
you're
we can
really
find a
hungry.
tin of beans.
you've got to have a cheeky nibble.
It's the apocalypse, man.
Yeah, but if there's people over the age of 14 are dead, there's going to be a ton of spare food.
That's
Yeah,
one of
but
the
what
plots
if
they talk about a lot, is that they basically looted all the shops and now they're running out of actual food because they've done that. Like in the first few months, they just went crazy and did whatever they wanted.
Calm down.
And
All
now
under
they're
14, they don't know how to control their food consumption.
Exactly.
They were straight in there. They ate all the ice cream.
But they
got
know
all
how
the
to eat a
crisps.
person.
It's all, well, yeah.
Yes!
They know how to fry up a cheeky bit of finger.
Desperate enough,
I mean,
your body will tell you what to do to survive.
You set a fire, you chop a bit off, you roast it up in the fire, you have a cheeky nibble. It's also...
It's insane, I should point that out. He's actually mental.
It's absolutely disgusting.
It's not just because he was hungry.
also a mad person. Yeah, that helps. Cam's can't even right now.
Cam is done with this conversation. He's just like, nope, nah.
At least now we know Cam's stance on cannibalism. It's a no.
It should be everyone's stance.
It's a no, unless you're really hungry and insane.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're insane.
When you get desperate enough, then sure. But
Yeah.
I am never eating another person.
Well, then you're
I
gonna
mean,
die.
That's good to know.
Well, to be fair,
I'd rather die.
you're going to be wiped out in the disease because
I know.
you're over 14, so it's fine. You won't have to deal with
We
that.
all will.
Yeah, we're all.
Sure. It's gonna be a
we're all
choice
gonna
for you.
become
It's
zombies.
just-
Yeah.
It's gonna be something.
Oh, that's good then.
I think when I read the first book, I was like, oh, I'll be fine. And then I read the second book, I was like,
Then
no.
again.
Did the book
Something.
turn you into what you are today?
Yeah, pretty much.
That explains a lot.
Wow. Do not read these books.
Do not read these books. You will become Hook. That's not
Everyone
good.
wants to be Hook.
Why would you not?
Mm.
I'll say it, buddy.
Perfect.
There's 6 books in the series, and a 7th one coming out next year that's going to end up.
Uh,
Oh, and also, with each book, it gets significantly weirder.
Sounds
Like,
it.
Not
Yeah.
just darker, but actually more mental.
But-
Because you have to keep on coming up with ideas.
yes.
So there's some odd things going on in the
He's consistently trying to one up himself, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah.
I think it's going to end with it all being a dream.
I mean, this isn't
Really
Lost, is
hope
it?
not.
It's not Lost, is it?
It's a dream within a dream.
Double
Inception.
dream section.
Oh,
There you go. If it turns out that is the ending to the book, I mean, we called it. We were here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
I'll send the
before it's a
podcast to
dream.
Charlie Hickson. Say, we predicted it, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
We knew this.
Right.
It's not, you're so
Again.
predictable, Hickson. Get it together.
Hickson.
So, Anne,
So,
what would you like to tell us about?
I would like to tell you about Catch Me If You Can. Many people know the movie with Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio, but not many people have actually heard that it was a book first.
Gasp.
And
Oh.
the book is actually based on a true story. It is the story of a guy
Is it
named
the story about Leonardo DiCaprio?
No. It's about a guy named Frank Abagnale. And before he turned 21, he had forged, like, he had made fake checks and stuff for like $2.5 million. And he had pretended to be a pilot, an advocate, doctor. And all without actually having any
I mean, he wasn't a
education
pilot
whatsoever.
doctor.
But the thing is, he was so good at convincing people and forging papers that people actually believed that he was all these things. And he was, it's just really amazing how much he got away with, before he was caught when he turned 21. Like, he was the youngest person ever to get on the FBI's list of wanted criminals.
Achievement.
Yeah.
And
The life
Achievement
skill.
unlocked.
it's just it's a really like interesting story, and you almost don't believe that it's true. Like, I saw the movie before I knew there was a book, and I thought it was all made up, but it's based on a true story, and I found that really amazing.
I imagine that would make the book just more engaged. The fact that someone
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
did all these things.
It's like when you see the movie, you're like, yeah, okay, cool movie. And then I found the book, and I was like, wait, this is an actual thing. This actually
Someone
happened.
actually did these stuffs.
Yeah,
Someone
of
pretended
course.
to be a doctor pilot.
Like, of course, some of the things in the movie is a bit like different than it was in the book, because Hollywood,
It's a book.
you gotta, yeah. But in the book, it's like, in the book, he tells it exactly as it happened. And this is backed up by, like, police and people who've met him through his life and stuff like that. And I just really found it, like, it was hard to put the book down when you started reading it, because it was fucking amazing.
That is a sign of a good book.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not a book that's gonna make you cry, but it's gonna make you
It's gonna make you wow.
amazed. It's gonna make you just go,
This book will
wow.
make you amazed.
And you're gonna wish you had the skills of this dude, because $2.5 million without people catching him. Like, come on.
That is many monies.
That is many
That's
money.
so many monies.
That
I
is
already
many.
wish I had those skills.
Yeah.
Like, he started out when he was 16.
I mean, what kind of 16-year-old got the balls to just write out a fake 2.5 million check and go, yeah, this is mine.
Like, well,
I'll
he
just-
didn't start out with big numbers. It started out with him just getting items for his car for free by forging checks, but then it like escalated and he got bolder and bolder.
Greedy.
Yeah, exactly. He actually like he was able to fly for free because he got himself a pilot outfit and he forged papers to show that he was a pilot. So actually like apparently pilots could like fly with a plane that they weren't like he didn't fly like he didn't pilot the planes, but
yeah, I imagine if he caught out pretty quick if it turned out.
yeah.
He just sit down
He wasn't the one
Wow.
flying, but when you're like apparently you can just like catch a ride for free if you're a pilot. So that he did that, and
I'm just imagining him now just going into the cockpit and sitting down and just going,
exactly.
wow.
Where's the gear stick?
Where's the on switch?
Where's the key? Has anyone got the keys?
Anyway, so he traveled like across America a lot, and he was very hard to catch for the FBI, and it was a whole thing.
I mean, well, being able to bum a ride and a free ride in a plane would make you quite hard to catch, wouldn't it?
It took the FBI 5 years to catch the guy. 5
I've never
years.
seen the movie.
I think I've seen the movie.
I haven't even heard of it.
It was yeah. I really enjoyed that book.
So,
Yeah.
It's
me!
That's all I've done.
Yes.
Go cat.
Now, my book doesn't have cannibalism in it. It doesn't have people that are okay with cannibalism. It doesn't have dragons, doesn't have zombies, doesn't have people who can steal $2 million. But it has people with superpowers. That's kind of cool.
on.
And it's called Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. Now, this book I randomly picked up on Amazon because I saw it for like £3. It was like an Amazon daily deal or something. And I was like, hey, it looks kind of cool. I'll give it a go. And it is awesome. I've read this book like 6 times. And I've only had it like, I don't know, 6 months. I've read it so many times.
Wow.
That is one time every month for those who listen to this.
That's a
It
good
is
book
so
then if
good.
you read it every month.
I absolutely love this book. It might not be for everyone. I guess it's classed as like a young adult book, I guess.
But then I'll probably like it.
I guess it would be.
I seem to like every book of that kind.
But basically what happens is a thing called calamity appears. And as the back of the book says, it is a burst in the sky that gave ordinary men and women extraordinary powers. And they call these people epics. Because, I don't know, I guess they're kind of
Because
epic
they
with the
are
cool
epic.
powers.
Kinda epic.
I mean,
But-
getting
Yeah.
superpowers is quite epic.
What happens with them is they get power mad, I guess it is, and they become they become dictators of certain areas of America, and like the governments collapse and everything, and these epics rule the world effectively.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But the powers are really unique. Like it's not your typical like. I mean, there are ones that can fly, there are ones that are strong, there are ones that are quick, like this then. But then there's also unique powers. Like there's a dude who can never run out of bullets in a gun, so he doesn't have to put bullets in any gun. He can just pick up a gun and shoot, and it automatically fires.
That's nice.
And
That's
there's
definitely
another
a power
dude.
I've
That's cool.
not heard of.
Yeah, there's a dude who
Way to
has
zoom out.
he can sense danger. I guess it's like Spider-Man, but it's to a point where
Spidey sense.
yeah, he does. He
My
does have
spidey
Spidey sense,
senses are tingling.
but it's to a point where if someone thinks about killing him, he knows about it.
Yeah. Does he make a noise whenever he gets it?
No, like he's got super
That
reflexes
would be
as well.
great.
I kind of wish he did.
It's like,
It's a,
someone's kicking.
It's
Yeah,
a
that
guy's
man
now.
over there has been hostile.
he gets
Guys, I
triggers.
feel threatened.
No, I mean he's got super reflexes to go with it. So like if somebody thinks about shooting him, he knows where the bullet's going to land. I guess it's like foresight. It's really weird. But all of these epics
It's like
have
perception
one
sort of
weakness.
thing.
Yeah, I can't think what they call it in the book.
Everyone should have a weakness. That's useful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
they all have a weakness, and the weaknesses are always really unique as well. They're like really specific stuff. So like that guy's weakness is, I mean, I guess it's most guys' weakness. He gets put off when he's around attractive women. That is his weakness. So where they try
Most
and
guys, though.
like, there's like the epics, and then there's a group called the Reckoners, who are normal humans fighting back against the epics and trying to take back over
send a
and
hit
stuff.
squad of sexy ladies to get him.
They send one of their They send one of their agents like dressed in like a really low-cut dress to try and distract him while the others can kill him.
Nice.
Like, it's stuff like that, and like there's one epic who he can store energy. He's just got like raw energy inside him, but he can't do anything with it. Apart from he can charge like batteries and stuff like that.
Oh.
So he's got this power, but he can't use it. He can only pass it on to other people.
Nice.
And there's loads of cool stuff like that, and it's just full of like turns and twists, and there's a big twist at the end, and I want the next book to come out. I want the next book to come out because I want to know what happens.
Patience.
I need this right now.
Patience.
And there's things that you sort of call at the beginning of the book. You're like, yeah, okay, this is going to happen, and then it just doesn't, and it's the complete opposite thing. It's just so cool. I want the next book right now. And you follow the story of a guy called David, and he's in a place called New Cargo, which is Chicago, but
different.
the epic that rules Chicago is called Steelheart, which is the name of the book.
Oh.
And he basically can't die. There's no way to kill him. But
Jesus.
David has seen him bleed. Like, people can shoot him, people can punch him, they can hit him with blasts of energy, and he just doesn't take any damage. But David, the main guy, has seen him bleed. So, like, he's got it in his head, he's seen him bleed once, he can do it again.
Bleed, we can kill it.
Exactly.
And it's about him trying to find out how to kill him and what his weakness is. And the way they kill him, or the way it ends, is just
Was
amazing.
his weakness
Like,
also boobs?
I can't
Was it
say.
hot men?
No, I can't say.
Close.
I can't say, but you need to read this book.
Oh
It's so
God.
good.
It definitely sounds
And of
like something
course-
I want to read.
There is, of course, some sort of romantic story,
Yeah, most of the
in
books
it.
you guys have mentioned. seem
but it
like
doesn't
books I
end
would
like you
read.
think it would.
Yeah, definitely.
The end twist is just crazy. I just think about it and I want the next book. I want it now. You should all read it. It's got humour as well.
Ah, great.
Like the team of Reckoners are like. Have you seen the movie called The Losers?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Reckoners are like the losers in the sense that they're just complete randomers that know each. Like they're from all parts of the world, and they're just complete misfits, but they work together so well.
Yes.
So in this, there's a guy called Cody, and he's like from Southern America, but he says he's from Scotland.
Right.
Like he calls Scotland the homeland and stuff like that, and he tries to be Scottish even though he's like South American, and he's got like a proper South American
Does
accent.
he wear a kilt?
And
It's just
I don't know if he does wear a kilt. I don't think he does,
Can he
but
be Scottish if he doesn't wear a kilt? Come on.
yeah, come on.
he's by
Obviously,
far
it's Gary.
the
Bro, that's a weak game.
he's by far the funniest. He's absolute batshit crazy. Like
Sounds it.
he's bonkers, but
He
he's
is
so cool.
absolutely
He's,
nutty bananas.
him and a character called the Professor are definitely my favourite characters in the book. But it's so good. You need to read this book right here. Hookman,
I just
No,
ordered
the
it
listeners
you're,
can't see.
you just ordered it.
as you were
you're
talking.
Yep, there we go.
you're editing the book. You're editing the podcast.
Yeah,
You
well,
need to
we'll
put,
have
like,
we'll have
covers.
links for all the books and all that in
Yeah.
linked up.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, we do. We do now.
Just the blurb of this book.
Why don't you read us the blurb, Cam?
That's what we should. I was just going to say we should read the blurbs of the books we're talking about. Do you
Yeah,
want me to read mine?
do it.
Okay.
I don't have the blurb for my book. God damn it.
Mine
10
are in
years.
Danish. Help.
You can
Cam,
translate.
read us the blurb.
I will. 10 years ago, Kilometre came. It was a burst in the sky that gave ordinary men and women extraordinary powers. The awed public started calling them epics, but epics are no friend of man. With incredible gifts came the desire to rule, and to rule man you must crush his will. Nobody fights the epics, nobody but the Reckoners, a shadowy group of ordinary humans. They spend their lives studying epics, finding their weaknesses, and then assassinating them. And David wants in. He wants Steelheart, the epic who is said to be invincible. The epic who killed David's father. For years, like the Reckoners, David has been studying and planning, and he has something they need. Not an object, but an experience. He's seen Steelheart bleed, and he wants revenge.
Dot.
There's also a major spoiler in the blurb. The fact that David's father died.
Oh, spoilers.
To be fair, it does happen. It happens in like the first, 3 or 4 pages.
Hook, do you want to
Okay,
read your blurb for us?
Does that need a minute to translate?
I've found online the English version of this because I'm not reading the Danish one because no one will understand any of it.
I'll read the blurb of The Secret History. On the influence of the charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, their lives are changed profoundly and forever.
There's so much more mysterious in that. Mine just told you what's happening. Yours is so mysterious. I want more.
I had to find out. Ooh.
What is it called?
The Secret History.
Okay, I shall look at this.
Right. And do you have one for yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I stole every nickel and blew it on fine threads. Okay, I can't do this. I'm so shit at reading, especially in English. I can't,
Do you want to send it in to
just
one
send
of
it
us?
to one of us. We'll read it out. We'll read it out for you. While you do that, I will read out the blurb for mine.
Thank you.
Here's the blurb for Demon Soul. Is banished 15 years, the wandering knight, Maisel Cravenlock, returns home at last to the grim marches, only to find war and chaos. His brother plans a foolish and doomed rebellion. His sister hopes to wed a brutal and cruel knight. The whispers speak of living corpses that stalk the night, of demons that lurk in darkness, and a sinister snake cult that waits in the shadows. Yet Maisel's darkest enemy waits elsewhere, within his own tainted soul. ...
Suspense.
Crazy.
I know, right? And
Okay.
who would like to read out?
Does someone want to read the one from Catch Me?
Shall I read it out? Alright, so
Yeah.
this is
Thank you.
the blurb from Catch Me If You Can is: I stole every nickel and blew on fine threads, luxurious lodgings, fantastic foxes, and other sensual goodies. I partied in every capital in Europe and basked on all of the world's most famous beaches. Frank W. Abagnale, alias Frank Williams, Robert Conrad, Frank Adams, and Ringo Monjo, I like that one, was one of the most daring con men, forgers, imposters, and escape artists in history. In his brief but notorious career,
Abagnale
donned a pilot's uniform and co-piloted a Pan Am jet, masqueraded as a member of hospitality management, practiced law without a license, passed himself off as a college sociology professor, and cashed over $2.5 million in forged checks, all before he was 21. Known by the police of 26 foreign countries and all 50 states as the Skywayman, Abagnale lived a sumptuous life on the run until the law caught up with him. Now recognised as the nation's leading authority on financial foul play, Abagnale is a charming rogue whose hilarious, stranger-than-fiction international escapades and ingenious escapes, including one from an aeroplane, make Catch Me If You Can an irresistible tale of deceit.
That's
Does
Yeah.
want.
I don't know about Skyway.
Skyway.
That sounds like a bad
It's kind
superhero.
of,
Well, blame the media.
blame
They're
America.
giving names. Yeah, it's just
God damn
American
America.
giving bad names.
Americans, please.
Get it together.
Ringo Monjo.
That is a damn. I don't know why you wouldn't just go with that as his go-to name for everything.
Well,
You just
because
change
if
your
name
he
to that,
don't
keeps
you?
using the same name, they're going to be able to track him, you know? That's why he kept changing names.
We're getting caught to be Ringo Monjo.
Yeah, who's going to believe Ringo Monjo would do that sort of stuff? He's a pillar of society. Right, so I think we still have a bit of time left. So,
Yes.
shall I ask everyone if they're reading anything right now? So, Cam, what are you reading right now?
I am reading. Well, I'm not reading anything at the minute, but I plan on reading the second book in a series that I recently started. And the first book is called Shadow Magic.
Oh, I've heard of Shadow Magic.
It was free on
I have
like
Shadow Magic
iTunes,
on my Kindle.
iBooks.
I
Have you
haven't
read
got around
it?
to reading it yet.
You need to read it. It's so good. But it's I finished reading that. I read that when I was flying to and from Denmark. I read the book and I don't. It's so cool. Like there's a whole. I can't really say much because it'll give away spoilers. Like because there are spoilers like almost instantly in the book and it's quite a big thing.
well.
But it's basically about a dude who gets taken out of his everyday life in the real world and into a place called the Land.
The land. That's nice.
which is where I guess I can say it. It's basically his dad.
No, I have read
Only
this one.
has-
Whereas his dad's the
His dad only
he's
has
the
one
professor
hand.
of like all ancient languages and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and his dad speaks like a ton of different languages, and he's always thought his dad was like a little bit quirky, a little bit weird, and then it turns out it's because he's not actually from the mortal world, I guess. He's from the land. Yeah, he's from a place called the Land, and it's about the main guy's called Connor, I believe. It's about his adventures through the land and figuring out who his dad really is.
Yeah.
And it is awesome. I finished reading it, and I want to read the second one, and that's gonna be my next purchase.
I've read that book as well. Would definitely recommend it. It's so good. Yeah.
It is really good.
It seems I'm just going to have to
It's
add
really
every
sad.
book
It's another really good fantasy read.
It's really sad though. Can you remember what happens in it under?
There's emotional twists and turns in that one. Yeah.
It's a really sad part, but you should definitely read it. It's really good. So that's going to be the next. That's going to be the book I'm currently reading, I guess.
Hook, are you reading anything right now?
Are you reading a book?
Is Hook reading a book?
Oh, you can't go over that, can you? I can't really say much about what I'm reading right now because it's a secret. No, because I'm only a few chapters in, and it's very disconnected. So there's not really much plot so far. It's called Nosferatu, not the original Nosferatu. It's something different, and it's by Joe Hill, I think his name is, who is Stephen King's son. And that's about all I know about it really so far. And since the first chapter is about a girl who can just, if someone loses something, she can then go into a tunnel and she'll find it at the other end of the tunnel. And that was that chapter. And the second chapter is about a completely different character doing something completely different. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on so far.
Sounds super confusing.
How are you finding it so far? Is this engaging?
Oh, it's good. There is something connecting it. There's something about a guy who was a child abductor. That's all I know about the overarching story. And yeah, I don't want to say too many dark things. I'm getting a reputation.
Getting okay.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it now, to be honest.
Oh.
Anne, what are you reading at the moment?
I am reading Saving Private Ryan because I went out and thought...
a book that I didn't know was a book. I thought that was only a film.
It was a book written after the film.
Oh, okay.
Because I like to make things complicated for myself, so instead of spending like 2 hours watching the movie, I instead spend several more hours reading the book. Because, I don't know. Well, basically, I found it in like a used bookstore I have in my town for like $2. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Let's give it a go. And so far it's really good. Like, I am not really much of a war movie or war book kind of girl, but so far I quite like it. Like, it's really good. And people die and it's a whole thing.
So is it like just like a novelization of the movie, or is it like
yeah, because it's like on the front of the book it said from script by person. So
by a guy who wrote script.
So basically someone took the script and made it into a book. So so I guess if I saw the movie it would go almost just like the book. But so far it's really good. Like I'm like 2/3 through it, and it's really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but as for me, I do a weird thing where I read more than one book at the same time.
Oh yeah, I've been there, done that.
I do that occasionally.
Yeah,
I once had 5 books going at the same time.
Oh, never done that. But only 2 at the same time right now.
In different rooms of my house.
So I am first thing I'm reading. It's pretty big. It's a biggie. It is Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
Only read it once before, so I'm going through it again. And
I've only read the first 2.
I think right now, I'm up to Return of the King right now, because I'm up to Shelob's Lair as the chapter that I have bookmarked right now.
Sounds right, yeah.
If you've got the stamina for it, it is really good.
Yeah, I think that's where I gave up, because when I started when I started reading it, I was like 12. So I read the first one and get halfway through the second one, and then I stopped, and I haven't started reading it again, but I really should, because Because you know,
yeah,
Lord of
I've
the
been
Rings.
going through it, and it's so different to the film. It's like there's so many bits
Yeah.
that they just don't have in. It's like I've got through. I'm gonna go up to say if I go through to like if I go up to page 233, that is where they're up to the Council of Elrond. So it's like this much. This much.
Yeah.
This much is before they even get to Rivendell.
That was the part I was confused with, because when, like, my dad, he made me a deal that if I read the first book, I could watch the movies. So that was basically why I started reading the first one. And when I watched the movie, I was so confused, because I was like, but where's all the stuff and the things and that?
Where's Frederigar Bolger?
Exactly. Like, where is all of these
Best
characters
why was he left
and
out?
this and where? I don't. Like, I was
like,
super confused by that.
Arwen doesn't save Frodo in the book. It's Glorfindel, I think. Who never even appears in the film.
I read this like 7 years ago. I can't remember.
So I would definitely recommend it if I've been reading it for like a couple of months now, because it's bloody massive.
I've got it right here on my shelf where it's all 3 books.
I think
while
I was reading that, I finished about 4 other books while I was going through it.
Yeah, because that's a massive read.
And the other book I'm reading right now is Eric, which is also by Terry Pratchett, because it was on sale on the ebook store, and it's not one I've read before. And it's pretty good so far. If any of you have read, do you know Rincewind from the Discworld series?
No, I've only read the first 4. And
if you've read the first 4, you've definitely Rincewind's the wizard.
Yeah. Okay.
That is
you gotta. Like, I read them in Danish, so I know the Danish titles, and character names also sometimes change in Danish translation.
He's the main character from, I think it follows on from the 3rd book, maybe?
Well...
It follows on from, it continues in Rincewind's whole series
if it's about the wizard, then it's the 1st and 2nd book.
It follows on from that, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and it's about he's been summoned by some kid, and he's like a conjurer sort of thing, and they're travelling through various realms, and for some reason this conjurer bloke thinks Rincewind's a demon. And it's a very Terry Pratchett. If you like all the other Terry Pratchett books, it's very in that vein sort of thing. So I'm enjoying it so far. I think I'm like a third of the way through it so far. So
yeah. But I think I need to go back to those because I read them ages ago, and
I would absolutely recommend anyone to read any of Terry Pratchett's books.
I read them back when the language was a bit too, like, even the Danish translation was a bit too complicated for me, because lots of big, complicated sentences. Yeah, and I was very young when I read them, so...
It's like, in some ways, Pratchett's quite easy to read, but in other ways, it's like, it's got like nuances in that you need to be able to read into.
Exactly, and I struggled back when I read them, but that's years and years ago, so I think I might need to go back and read them again.
Yeah.
Maybe even get the English edition, because Danish translations sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
Just as a last thing, would you recommend reading something in a translated state, or would you say always go for the original language it was written in?
I would say go for the language it was written in if you can, because my experience with I've read English books translated to Danish, but I've also read a Danish book that was translated to English, and like even when the translation is good, you lose stuff on the way because words are not the same in all languages. Like, you lose nuances on the way, so it's definitely better to read it in its original language.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, does anyone else have anything they'd like to add, or give a quick shout out?
Yes. I'm changing my book that I'm currently reading.
Okay.
Because I've just noticed that there is a book in between Steelheart and the next one. There's a book in between, and I just found it and I just thought of it, so I'm going to be reading that.
Great.
What's the name of said book?
It is called Mitosis. and it is like the series is called The Reckoners, and it is Reckoners 1.5.
Ooh, interesting.
And it only came out in September,
Interesting.
so I am reading that
Hopefully
next.
that'll keep you until the next one comes out, maybe.
Yeah, the next one comes out on the 6th of January. I already know all this stuff.
You just
I got
count
that
like a
pre-ordered.
countdown on your phone and
Counting
stuff.
the
That
days.
it's a whole.
I've got it pre-ordered.
Of course you do.
Yes.
Yes, so I think that is us done for our podcast. So yeah, if you we will have a link dump with links to all of the books that we've talked about here.
Supposedly.
Well, I mean, it's no problem.
I mean, we're gonna.
Yeah, we're not just gonna let someone else do all the work. But yeah,
And
thanks for listening, I guess. Yeah.
We are.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
are closing.
This is the end of this
page
chapter of Spot On.
Oh, you were
There we go, there it is. End on the fantastic pun there.
oh my
Well.
god.
But see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.